Yes.
Well,
Good morning. Today's obituaries are brought to you by Moss Service and Hansville Funeral Home. Funeral services for Stephen Alton Albright, age 61 of Holly Pond, will be at 2 p.m. today at Holly Pond Funeral Home Chapel, burial in Holly Pond Cemetery. Mr. Albright passed away yesterday. Visitation will be from noon until 2 p.m. today. Funeral services for Rebecca Griffith, age 64 of Holly Pond, will be at 11 a.m. tomorrow at Holly Pond Funeral Home Chapel, burial in Reedon Cemetery. Holly Pond Funeral Home directing. Ms. Griffith passed away Wednesday. Visitation will be 6 to 8 p.m. tonight. Funeral services for Betty McCormick Anderson Kilgore, age 77 of Hansville, will be at 2 p.m. today at Solid Rock Church in Bremen. The Reverend Dan Anderson officiating, burial in Addington Chapel Cemetery. Moss Service Funeral Home will be directing. Ms. Kilgore passed away Wednesday. Visitation will be 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. tonight at the church. Funeral services for Artie Lou Johnson, age 88 of Cullman, will be at 1 p.m. tomorrow at Cullman Heritage Funeral Home Chapel. The Reverend Larry Brown will officiate with interment in Center Grove Cemetery in Cullman. Cullman Heritage directing. Ms. Johnson passed away Wednesday at her residence. Visitation will be 6 to 8 p.m. tonight at the funeral home. Funeral services for Norma Ray Hightower, age 77 of Cullman, will be at 10 a.m. tomorrow at Cullman Heritage Funeral Home Chapel. The Reverend Sherman Bailey and Albert Dean Estes officiating. The interment in Duck River Cemetery. Cullman Heritage directing. Ms. Hightower passed away yesterday at St. Vincent's Medical Center in Birmingham. Funeral services for Joy Faye Hutchinson, age 78 of Cullman, will be at 2 p.m. on Sunday at First United Methodist Church. Mitchell Williams officiating, interment in Cullman City Cemetery. Ms. Hutchinson passed away Wednesday. Visitation will be from 6 to 8 p.m. tonight at the funeral home. Funeral services for Robert Clarence Miller, age 61, will be at 2 p.m. today at Mill Creek Baptist Church. The Reverend David Hale officiating. Burial in Ebenezer Cemetery in Morgan County. The body will lie in state from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. today. Peck Funeral Home of Hartsville directing. Mr. Miller passed away on Tuesday at his residence. And those are our obituaries for today, brought to you by Moss Service and Hansville Funeral Home.
and welcome to Today on 2. It is Friday, the 27th day of July, almost the end of July.
Wow.
School starts in less than a month.
Oh, wow.
Yep, I hate to bring you the bad news, but it does start next month. Let's start with the weather forecast for today. Our weather brought to you by Mitch Smith Chevrolet on Cherokee Avenue. Make the switch to Mitch. Here's the weather almanac for July 27th. The average high 92, the average low 66, the record high 103 in 1952, the record low 57 in 1962. Sunset this evening at 7:52 and sunrise tomorrow morning at 5:56. Here's the satellite picture. You can see what's going on around the country. My friends in Iowa said they did get some rain this week, but not enough to make up for the drought conditions they've had all summer. There you can see our part of the country, a little bit rain down in the beach area. And the forecast for today calls for partly sunny, 60% chance of rain today, maybe a thunderstorm later on, and a little bit of a breeze, a high of 89. Cloudy tonight, 60% chance of rain before 8 o'clock, low of 73. For tomorrow, slight chance of rain, otherwise plenty of sunshine, a high around 93, 94 on Sunday and Monday, and once again, a slight chance of rain each day with a high in the 90s the rest of the week. So there we go with the weather outlook for the next several days. Maybe if you want something cool, you would go to London for the Olympics. The Olympic Games get underway. The opening ceremonies are tonight. Do you like the Olympics?
I like the Olympics.
Which sports?
I like the gymnastics.
That kind of figures.
Yes.
You took
I really do
gymnastics,
enjoy
didn't
it.
you?
No, I took dance when I was younger,
Okay.
but I really do enjoy watching the gymnasts. It's just amazing what they can do.
Yes.
It's so interesting.
Thing that surprises me about gymnastics is that you don't have to be very old before you're too old.
Right. There's people who are already retired and are my age.
Yes.
You know, so.
Yeah, the girl that was the big representative from the United States, Shawn Johnson,
Yes.
last year retired
And
before she could compete this year.
she's only 19.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever you like in sports, the Olympics represents all of it. It lasts for, I think, 2 weeks. But opening ceremonies are tonight. The weather, they say, is cool and rainy. Matter of fact, the weather is not conducive for beach volleyball. Because the girls may not want to wear their bikinis.
I don't think the girls wear bikinis in the Olympics, though.
Yes,
I
they
hate
do.
to break that to you.
Yes, they do.
They do?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
They really do?
Broke my heart to find out.
Well, it breaks my heart that they wear bikinis, too.
You don't remember 4 years ago.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. So anyway, we'll have to see what they wear this
I just
year.
thought they wore volleyball outfits.
No,
I had no
not
idea.
not for beach
Should
volleyball.
really keep up on my Olympic sports.
See,
Write a letter.
we'll find out what they wear this year, as well as all the other sports. Anyway, this is Friday. That's politics on Today on 2. Who's with us today?
Well, we have Senator Paul Bussman here to talk about the September 18th referendum, and also mayoral candidate Marshall Rowe is here.
That's our program lined up. The political panel is here, and here's our Facebook friend of the day.
Our Facebook friend of the day today is Vicki Martin. He likes the TV series Criminal Minds and TV series 2.5 Men.
Okay, we'll get started right after this.
That sorrel outside. Who does it belong to? I said, who owns that sorrel?
That's my horse, boy. That's my gun.
You filth! You dirty filth!
appreciate you joining us today. We've got our usual panel, Tom Drake, Tom Burleson, myself, and we joined this morning Senator Paul Bussman. Again,
Good morning.
Paul, thank you for coming
Good
in.
to be here. Good to be here.
We wanted to talk with you this morning, Paul, about this referendum that's coming up September the 18th, dealing with the oil and gas revenue. Is that what we're talking about? And whether it will go to just one effort or to two efforts, that being the corrections, trying to keep people from releasing so many prisoners on the street. We need more, I guess, facilities or more personnel to watch guards, whatever. And the other being Medicaid. What's your take on that?
Well, I've got in going through the budget, it was very obvious that we were going to have a tremendous shortfall.
Yeah.
And that shortfall would have required us to make some tremendous cuts. We made cuts in other departments, in other areas, but Medicaid and the prisons are kind of protected, if you could say that, just simply because of their importance and the federal oversight for those things. It was very obvious we were going to have a tremendous shortfall. And it's because of the economic times. It's because we are not having as much income coming into the state because of the economy. And so we had a choice. We would either cut Medicaid and cut prisons, and doing that would decrease the amount of medical care for many citizens. The prisons would cause us to release prisoners that we may not necessarily want to release. And so we asked the public if they would allow us to transfer $145 million a year for 3 years to cover that shortfall.
For 3 years.
For 3 years.
It wouldn't
Yes.
just be 1 year, the next year
3
we're
years.
trying to figure
Yes.
it out. Yeah, okay.
And the issue that most people don't understand right now is the Education Trust Fund is paying $145 million back to that fund right now each year. And so what we're doing, we're taking that $145 million and just moving it over into the general fund. And so there's not going to be a decrease of principal in that fund. It's going to be a transfer of money. The only thing that I have some issues with on that referendum is that we didn't put a payback clause in there.
Oh, okay.
And so what we'll have to do in the next coming session is, over the next 10 years, we need to pay that money back to the trust fund, because that principle is what helps cities and counties. That principle is what's our savings account, and everybody understands. If you've ever had financial peace with those entities, you know that you have a savings account. But when you use that savings account, you got to put the money back in the savings account. And so I encourage people to vote for that referendum.
So you're in favor?
Yes, I am.
Senator, if that don't pass, that's going to put you in a bind, isn't it?
If it doesn't pass, we've got two choices. The first choice would be the governor could call a special session immediately, which would be the 18th would be the referendum. The budget goes into effect October 1st. So we would have about 2 weeks in there for him to call a special session for us to readjust the budget. The governor said he's not going to call a special session, which means there will be drastic cuts in Medicaid and prisons. And those cuts, from my understanding, would cause some of our community hospitals to close. Your Lawrence County Hospital, all of these smaller, Cullman Regional is a big enough hospital, they would probably survive. But some of your smaller hospitals around the state would have to close. Some of the benefits that are paid for Medicaid would have to be decreased.
Would they cut so much from each one, or just cut it from one?
I think they're going to split it, is what I understand.
Split it.
And so you'll see a cut in Medicaid and you'll see a cut in prisons.
So each one will get a certain amount?
Yeah, and we're looking at, I think, about 25%, which is a huge, huge cut for Medicaid and for the prison system.
Of course, the other alternative would be to pass a tax.
Yes, sir, and you won't see that come through the legislature. That's one thing that I can assure. There's no interest in Montgomery right now to increase the tax. There was a discussion at one time about raising tobacco tax or sin taxes, which are your tobaccos with your soft drinks, your beer and those things, and that didn't get a warm welcome in the Senate for sure. And I still think there's a tremendous amount of efficiency that we can do in state government to help with that budget issue without doing that.
So in order for each one to be funded properly, the people would need to vote for this bill, right?
Yes, sir, and you say properly, it's still going to be minimal funding, but that's the best we can do right now.
Can we bring up that slide if we have it, please? We've shown it a number of times before in other programs, but this is the way it's written here. Come September the 18th, when you go to the polls, shall the following amendment be adopted to the Constitution of Alabama, proposing an amendment to the Constitution to provide adequate funding for the state attorney general fund budget to prevent the mass release of prisoners and to protect critical health services to Alabama children, elderly, and mothers by transferring funds from the Alabama Trust Fund to the state general fund beginning with the new fiscal year, to create a county and municipal government capital improvement trust fund advisory committee. Can you explain that part?
Well, there's a situation where we have got to understand the basic problems with these shortfalls, and so those committees are going to be working through the areas to figure out where the shortfalls are, where we can save money, where we have to fund, where we don't have to fund. Medicaid's got some optional that we could do, that we do now, that we don't have to do. But to cut those things would really be a devastation to some of our senior citizens, and so we've got to be very careful where we cut in the Medicaid.
Committees, did you say more than one?
I think it's one. Just one.
Who's going to appoint those? The governor?
I would assume the governor and the lieutenant governor and the speaker of the House.
Okay. Now, I've seen one town council meeting or community meeting by, I think it was Ed Henry, representative. Will there be more before September the 18th, or will you or the other representatives be going out to try to convince people this is the only way we're going to make it? Or
I've not planned any town meetings. I've answered a lot of phone calls.
Yeah.
I've answered a lot of questions at different clubs.
Right.
We go into meetings and talk in those meetings. I would assume that there will be some statewide push to make sure that passes, and I think you'll see that closer to the September 18th deadline.
Yeah.
So people are paying it. Usually people don't start paying attention to a referendum until about 2 weeks out, and so I think you'll see a pretty good push at that time to make sure that it does happen.
Okay.
Of course, another situation, if it don't pass, they're going to be calling you folks down there every 15 minutes to try to get money.
Yes, sir, and this doesn't even touch Obamacare that's coming down the road in 214.
Yeah.
And that is is another tremendous issue on Medicaid that we will have an additional 500,000 people on the Medicaid rolls.
500,000 people.
And that is it's just not sustainable in the state of Alabama, and so this just gets us over the hump today. And then we've got a huge decision to make in the next year or two on how we're going to deal with Obamacare if we have to.
Has that even been addressed?
It's starting to be. We are looking at the things that will happen to our budgets, and our general fund budget is in trouble now. It would just be devastated if we have to put all of Obamacare.
But Alabama's not the only state that's dealing with it, right?
Not. And we're in Alabama, thanks to Mr. Speaker and many people before me,
right,
have put the state in pretty good shape. We have struggles. We're struggling now financially, but other states are going bankrupt. And so we are. You have to put it in context of where we're at, and we're in good shape. Same way with Cullman. Cullman is in tremendous shape compared to other areas of the state. And so when you start looking at things, especially in Cullman, you have to realize that we're in much better condition financially and infrastructure-wise and job-wise than many other areas of the state of Alabama, and that's, we have to keep that in mind when we start voting on these things.
Did Alabama rejected part of that health plan, didn't it?
We've done as much as we can to slow it down, and now that we've heard what the Supreme Court has done with it, they are pushing it forward, so we're going to have to do more. And the election in November is going to be huge. It just, if President Obama is reelected, then we're really going to have to deal with it. If Governor Romney's elected, then they may rescind it, and we may not have to deal with it at all. So we just have to wait till November and see what happens.
Paul, let me ask you this. I don't say if in November that if they got a new president. This is still a law. This is still a
correct.
law done by the Congress, and
Yes, sir.
Supreme Court approved it and all that. That's got to be changed before you can do anything, even with a new president, isn't it?
That's correct. And even if you have a new president, if you don't have a majority in the Senate, then that repeal may not happen. And so there's, it's kind of concentrating right now on President Obama and Romney, but they really don't have a whole lot of say-so in it. It's going to be the Senate of the United States Congress that has the say-so. And so if that doesn't turn over and you still have a Republican House and a Democratic Senate, then you're going to be in the normal federal gridlock, and that could force that to continue on through, and then we'll have to make those tough decisions on how to handle it.
How will, come the beginning of next fiscal year, the September 18th referendum does not pass, what are some things people will start to see in terms of services?
I think you'll see a tremendous decrease in Medicaid, the benefits. You'll see many hospitals that will be put in a position where they cannot function because the Medicaid income is not enough to keep them going. I think you will see the federal government come in and say we have to release X number of prisoners, which means it would be like California a couple years ago where they released 5,000 prisoners. We don't get to choose who those people are that are released. It's whoever is next on the list. And so we've got to come up with, when this passes, we've still got to look at the prison systems, and we've still got to look at Medicaid and figure out how we're going to reduce the overcrowding in the prisons. And right now we are 175, 180% over capacity, and so we've got 3 and 4 people in a cell, and that doesn't bother me because they've committed a crime, but the federal government doesn't like that, and the federal government has standards that we have to go by.
Right.
And once you get to a certain point, then the federal government will step in and say you have to release. And
That's happened before.
Yeah, and it's not a pick and choose. It's a you release, and so I would rather have a system set up where we have a controlled release, where they're followed, or they are working for the counties and the cities to get their job skills up. I would like to see a program like that come out before we have to start releasing just X number of prisoners.
We're out of time. Thank you, Senator Bussman.
I appreciate you letting me come by.
Thank you for
Very much.
clarifying
Good to see y'all.
Coming up in the second interview, we're going to be talking with Marshall Rowe, a candidate for mayor of the great city of Cullman. We'll be back.
At Premier Bank, we're a bit old-fashioned. We actually answer the telephone when you call. However, old-fashioned doesn't mean we aren't up to date. With the latest technology, Premier Bank meets the various needs of our customers. Mobile smartphone banking, internet banking, ATMs, convenient offices. At Premier Bank, we have the right products right now with good old-fashioned customer service. At Premier Bank, we put the customer first.
Overwhelmed by home refinancing offers from telephone solicitors and direct mail advertising, and then find you're not qualified for a specific plan? The Mortgage Center, a hometown lender, compares the rates from all home loan lenders and the qualifications of the various government programs to find a plan best suited to you. The Mortgage Center helps Cullman County people purchase and refinance their homes.
This is Pat Newton. Call us today and let us tailor a loan program to your specific needs and requirements.
Meet the KitchenAid 36-inch induction cooktop. It might just change the way you cook. Induction technology heats the pan and not the cooking surface to offer you a new level of precision, speed, and energy efficiency. 9 settings give you different levels of heat to achieve precise temperatures and amazing responsiveness. Water boils in just seconds, making this the fastest to boil induction cooktop available. The KitchenAid 36-inch induction cooktop.
All right, now up next we've got a candidate for mayor of the good city of Cullman, Marshall Rowe. Thank you, Marshall, for coming in to see us.
Thank you, sir, for having me.
Your regular job as a mayor, or is a policeman, right?
Well, I've retired.
Oh, you've retired. Retired policeman.
Yes, sir, I sure did.
How many years did you stay there?
Well, I lacked about 6 weeks of having 27 years.
Oh, yeah.
Marshall, you ran the last time, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I sure
I thought
did.
you did.
What makes you want to run for the mayor of Cullman?
Well, I guess I've just got public servant in my blood. My dad always told me, don't ever be a public servant, son, and I guess I didn't listen.
What's your dad's name?
George.
George Rowe. Okay.
He worked for, worked for the Department of Agriculture for the Farmers Home Administration.
He's a nice fellow.
Yeah.
He really was.
Thank you, sir.
Public service. Boy, that's a big service right there when it comes to serving the public as mayor. How much different are your ideas for the future of Cullman than what you see happening now?
Well, the thing that has sort of concerned me, of course, being an employee, and having worked under 5 different mayors, during my time with the city, sometimes from an outsider's perspective looking in, you see the mayor in the paper, cutting ribbons and going to the golf course and greeting dignitaries as they come in, and you gentlemen know that have been in politics, that's not the way it is every day. There's sewers that are getting stopped up and ditches that are needing cleaned out, and there's a lot of things like that are going on behind the scenes that the mayor's responsibilities are day-to-day operations, and sometimes that's not quite as glamorous as what you see in the paper.
Right.
And so I feel like I could bring a flavor to that, having been a city employee for so long,
Right.
that I might have a little bit of perspective on that.
Your perspective has primarily in the past been in law enforcement in terms of your views and your experience. So what do you see in law enforcement that maybe the mayor could do something about?
Well, of course, I did work for the police department, but I was the training officer at 2 different times.
Okay.
And of course, being the training officer, we did a lot of classes for the public. We did, safety and self-defense. We also worked closely with the schools, doing, because of all the active shooter things that have, come down the line.
Right.
I've also had an opportunity to work with EMA very closely, and I'm actually an instructor in the CERT program, the Citizens Emergency Response Teams.
Okay.
And I've had the opportunity to be able to instruct there. Of course, we've worked closely with Park and Recreation, because occasionally they would have classes that they would need police department to provide instructors for. And so, and also I was on loan out to the Utilities Board for 2.5 years and worked at the water plant doing security there.
Okay.
So I did work for the police department, but I also was diversified.
Right. So is there anything that you would do to enhance those duties, those responsibilities and efforts?
Well, one
as
thing
mayor?
that I feel like that I could bring to the table is that having worked with so many, of course, also working with the county, with the sheriff's department, that in the past occasionally there'd be a little bit of tension there, and I feel like that I am a team player and a team builder, and I would like to see all the entities work more closely together. It's sort of like in football, before preseason, you'll have a scrimmage game, and everybody will be competing against each other, But then when when you get into the regular season, then you're playing against the opponent's team. Well, I think some of our entities here in Cullman have sort of still got that scrimmage game mentality, and they're kind of competing against each other instead of realizing, hey, we've got the economy, we've got, other cities out here that we're sort of, need to be focusing on them to try to, bring industry in and try to, take care of our kids and do things here in this community instead of, competing against each other quite as much.
One of your opponents, Mr. Parker, has stated that he described the makeup of the mayor and the city council, and you normally have a strong mayor, a weak council, or a strong council and a weak mayor. he considers us to be a weak mayor and a strong council. Is that the way that you consider this makeup to be in the city of Cullman?
Well, it's an interesting perspective because, and this is just my opinion, but, you had, when Mayor Green was the mayor, of course, he had been a councilman prior. So when he came into the mayor's role, he still sort of had that council perspective. And so quite often he would defer to the president of the council. And so, of course, like when Jack Sides was the mayor, that wasn't the case. Jack Sides was, he would,
Jack could get with it.
Yes, sir. So what has happened is because of the, of course, Councilman Gudger, was trained in that environment. And so now he's the president of the council. And so he was familiar with that sort of mechanism. And so then you had Mayor Townsend elected, and he wanted to sort of shift back, to the stronger mayor, weaker council type operation. But, you had a council there that was very strong. So they've sort of, kind of come to, some headbutting, along the way, because of you sort of had a strong council, strong mayor, and that had a unique flavor to it.
So what do you consider it to be now?
Well, obviously, the council has the upper hand there because they've got the votes, And so the mayor, like I said, he really needs to focus on the day-to-day operations, and the council has their job to do. They bring the public view and the groups that they're representing, within the city, depending on what committees they're sitting on individually, and the mayor, needs to defer to them in their areas and focus on those things that he, has responsibility for.
I think some of the people in the city think that we have a strong council, a strong council and a mayor, less power.
Well, obviously they think we got a good council.
Oh,
nobody qualified to run against any of them.
Absolutely.
That's not the issue. The issue is who's got the power,
Right.
And I think at the present time, and I think quite a few of the people in the city of Cullman feel like the council is the one that dictates right now.
Yes.
Now, it may be reversed to whoever gets elected,
There are some business owners whose businesses were destroyed and really damaged after the April 27th tornado. And they're concerned because they don't feel there's enough is being done to help them get back on their feet and get their businesses open. A lot of red tape. Is this an issue in your mind, or is it not an issue?
Well, it's heartbreaking, when you go over there, and it's been, a year and a half afterwards, and we still have, the path of the tornado is still right through the middle of town. And, as a citizen, the city there, I feel like, could do some things like, for example, you're only talking about one area of damage that is still very prevalent when you go over there. People are still trying to build back and do construction. And if you were to, say, for example, have a business owner in that area, and you could say, okay, we're going to really try to help with the tornado recovery. So what we want you to do, come in, get your business license as usual, but we're not going to charge you this year. If you are a homeowner or a business owner, either one, and you have to have repairs, roof or porch or whatever, you're working on, come by, get your building permit, but we're not going to charge you. If you're in that swath, and also there's a possibility because a lot of these business owners that are struggling to try to get back in, they might need a tax abatement for a year, of the city tax or something like that. And I think we really could look deeper into that recovery in that area because, with the economy the way it is, we can't hardly afford just like Senator Bussman was saying about all the businesses that we have lost statewide. Right here in town, we don't want to lose any of our businesses that we can, if we can help it. So I think that we definitely need to look into trying to help our local business people recover as much as possible.
Marshall, overall, we got a real fine city, and we got a
Yes, sir.
fine county made up of fine people. And anybody that gets elected to a position like that is really fortunate, and they ought to really appreciate it.
I agree 100%.
It is it's a tremendous responsibility, especially with budgets as tight as they have to get, now, with serving people and providing public service and all. Election's coming up here pretty soon, isn't it?
Yes, sir. August 28th. It's right around the corner.
Today's what, the 27th? So in about 31 days or 32 days or whatever, there's going to be an election and people have to go out. We're going to come back in the second half. Marshall talk some more with our candidate for mayor for the city of Cullman. We're going to take a break. We'll be back after these.
Cheyenne, Cheyenne, where will you be camping tonight? Lonely man, Cheyenne, will your heart stay free and light? Dream, Cheyenne, of a girl you may never love. Move along, Cheyenne, like the restless clouds up above.
At Premier Bank, we take pride in serving our community. We respect our customers, and we've won awards for our ethical conduct. We're motivated to do all we can for you, and we're interested in your banking needs. We're efficient, safe, and sound, and our relationships with our customers are second to none.
At Premier Bank, we put the customer first.
There's stuff around your house, but we don't make stuff. We make ovens. Dual fuel, double ovens. And they bake so evenly that now delicious is something you can depend on. We only make things for one room. The best room. Your kitchen. We're devoted to it. And you can feel it in everything we make. Nobody knows the kitchen like KitchenAid.
Overwhelmed by home refinancing offers from telephone solicitors and direct mail advertising, and then find you're not qualified for a specific plan? The Mortgage Center, a hometown lender, compares the rates from all home loan lenders and the qualifications of the various government programs to find a plan best suited to you. The Mortgage Center helps Cullman County people purchase and refinance their homes.
This is Pat Newton. Call us today and let us tailor a loan program to your specific needs and requirements.
We return with more of Today on 2. It's time to give away our prizes. And on Friday, let's see what we have for prizes for today. 2 cupcakes from Frosting's Bakery. And I believe we also have the meal special from High Tide Sports Grill. 2 prizes for you for today. Let's look at our merchant ads. We'll ask you a question about one of these ads, starting with Renard's Gallery and Gifts and Art Gallery. A gift store, a jewelry store, custom framing is also available. Renard's Gallery on 1st Avenue Southeast.
Baldwin Counseling Center, having problems, need to talk and want privacy? Howard Rogers is only a phone call away. He can help you with weight loss, individual and family counseling, and even lifestyle coaching at Baldwin Counseling Center.
The Wellness and Aquatic Center open 7 days a week. Enjoy the water park, beat the heat, have some fun in the swimming pool, splash and play for just $10 a day.
Mullins Body Shop, you've counted on them for over 52 years for auto body repair and towing, and you can still count on them today. Give them a call at 734-1353 at Mullins Body Shop.
Sweet deals are available from Dairy Queen. Pick any 4 items, pay just $5.55. And of course, the blizzard of the month for the last few days of July, Chocolate Candy Shop.
High Tide Sports Grill on Highway 31 next to Burgess Body Shop. They have new summer hours from 3 to 9 p.m. and they're closed on Sundays. And tonight, their special is shrimp.
Doug Doggett Jewelers annual July inventory reduction sale is in progress, but you're running out of time. You'd better get into Doug Doggett Jewelers. Store-wide discount, select merchandise half off right now at Doug Doggett Jewelers.
Knight Free Insurance is providing insurance coverage for 3 generations from Paul Knight all the way to Westgate Free today. They can provide you with a program just right for you and your family because they're independent insurance agents. They're located on 1st Avenue.
Shimmer and Glow Tanning Boutique, a new business, a new advertiser with us. They do all kinds of tanning, the spray tanning, the tanning bed, stand-up tanning. They provide child care so you can bring the youngsters. Shimmer and Glow. There we go with some of our merchant ads for today. Who is having a July clearance sale? That should be an easy question.
That's an easy question.
Easy question. Which advertiser is having a July clearance sale right now? 256-734-7399 is our telephone number. And our winner receives the meal special for 2 from High Tide Sports Grill, as well as 2 cupcakes from Frostings. Which advertiser is having a July clearance sale? 256-734-7399 is our telephone number. And remember, just 1 winner per household within a 30-day period of time. And we have a caller ready to go. Let's see who's on the line. Who's calling, please? Who's calling?
Johnny.
Hi, Johnny. From where are you calling?
Cullman.
Okay. Who's having a July clearance sale?
Doug Doggy.
Doug Dogga Jewelers is the right answer. Stay on the line, please. Thanks for calling in. Yeah, Doug Dogga Jewelers. I knew that'd be an easy one for today. Now let's look at the rest of our merchant ads. This time we start with People's Tires. They have the Hydro Master tire. Save as much as 50%. It looks like new, wears like new, has the European style tread.
The Fest Hall Market Plots is open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. They have a variety of fresh vegetables, and senior nutrition program vouchers are accepted at the Fest Hall Market Plots.
Deb's Bookstore, your hometown bookstore just down the road. Deb's Bookstore says browsers are always welcome. That'll take you some time. There's a lot of books to look through at Deb's Bookstore.
Mr. Plumber is Cullman's only professional full-service plumbing, sewer, and drain company. They're locally owned and operated, and they offer free estimates on new construction and fast 24-hour service at Mr. Plumber.
Mr. Hicks Menswear, business suits and sport coats in regular, big, and tall sizes. Also, right now, they have 20% off Pima cotton shirts. That's at Mr. Hicks Menswear.
The Uniform Place offers colors and styles of summer. They have the Landau brand, and they have the cargo pant, which is constructed for comfort, now available at the Uniform Place.
Tires for Less is more than just tires. They'll fix your air conditioning. They do oil changes. They can replace your shocks and brakes. Over 80 years total experience at Tires for Less on Highway 31.
The crew that stands behind you when you need them the most. We're talking about the guys at Earl's Body Shop. They offer large and small towing, local or long distance. They're on Highway 31 North in Cullman or on earlsbodyshop.com.
St. Paul's Lutheran School accepting applications for the next school year. Pre-K 3 through 6th grade. Quality Christian education now for over 50 years.
And summer learning is available at the Tutor Doctor. They make house calls. They also make learning fun and active. You can avoid summer learning loss, and they have flexible hours and tutoring packages with the Tutor Doctor.
The Tutor Doctor also makes TV station calls. She'll be here Monday.
That's right.
Okay, who's having a birthday today and this weekend?
Well, it looks like Saturday, Jeff Sharp, Will Montgomery, and Charles Bailey will be celebrating a birthday. And on Sunday, Sandra Miller and Cheryl Kreidner will be celebrating a birthday, so happy birthday to you. And now it's time to draw for our 8x10 portrait from Baker Photography and our ice cream cake from Dairy Queen.
Okay, our weekly winner for the birthdays is Cheryl Kreidner.
Oh.
Birthday coming up on Sunday. And we don't have any anniversaries this week, just birthdays to talk about. The weather brought to you by Mitch Smith Chevrolet at Cherokee Avenue. Make the switch to Mitch. Partly sunny, 60% chance of a thunderstorm today. A little bit of a breeze will make it feel good, high of 89. Again, a 60% chance of rain tonight before 8 o'clock, a low of 73. Slight chance of rain tomorrow morning, otherwise sunny with a high of 93.
In times like these, the special moments are more important than ever. At Eva Bank, we understand your life can be a bit hectic, so we offer a variety of personal banking options with individual assistance. From online banking to Advantage savings and checking, as well as loans to further your family's success. Eva Bank, making your financial needs easier so you can get back to the more important things. That's the Eva Bank advantage.
Life lived in black and white is not a life lived. Today, I choose color. To see it. To feel it. To be in it. To be upon it. And to live a life surrounded by it. Today, I put on a fresh coat.
At Premier Bank, we are very proud of the long-lasting relationships we have with our customers. We'll go almost anywhere to meet your banking needs.
Who is the tall, dark stranger there? Maverick is the name. Riding the trail to who knows where. Luck is his companion. Gambling is his game. Smooth as a handle on a gun. Maverick is the name. Wild as the wind in Oregon. Blowing up a canyon. Easier to tame.
Welcome back to That's Politics. Our guest today is Marshall Rowe, a candidate for mayor of the city of Cullman. What's your platform, Marshall? Just out of curiosity, what are the issues you're talking about here? 2 or 3 of them.
Well, I feel like Cullman, even though we have a long and rich heritage, we've sort of always been sort of a small town, but we've had a tremendous amount of growth in the last few years. A lot of industries have moved in here, and we're sort of right at a situation where we're at the tipping point from going from a small town to sort of a medium-sized town. And the issue there is that, for example, if you're trying to recruit new industry and more industry to come in, because one of the, just like what you were talking about with Senator Bussman, one of the reasons that Cullman did as well, in the economy as we have is because we have a lot of jobs available, a lot of industry here and whatnot. And if we want to continue to recruit, as we're making that transition from a small town to a medium-sized town, we need to keep our infrastructure and our base solid to where we don't get in a situation where, as we're bringing people in, they are seeing that we've got fantastic schools, that we've got some of the best schools in the state. They're always in the top 10 and even in the top 3 and, certain like writing and things like that, We've got Park and Rec that's second to none in the state. Fantastic programs. We have the national competitions being brought in here because of the facilities that we have here in Cullman. But if they're driving through town and there's a pothole in the road big enough to swallow a Toyota, they might scratch their heads, and say, well, gee, what's going on here, because if you've still got a small town street department and you've got a medium-sized town operation going, then we kind of need to get that infrastructure built up. Same thing like with the fire service. If you're up on 157, like, out at Utaka, and the plant manager says, well, how long is it going to take you to respond from the new fire station down on Main Avenue to Utaka? And they say, well, it's going to take about 12 or 15 minutes. And their eyes get about that big around because they are thinking, wow, isn't there any closer fire station? And of course, the entire time I worked at the city, they had talked about putting a fire station on 157. Well, now there's been 100 times more growth on 157 corridor than there was then. And if they knew that they needed it that long ago, then we sure do need it now. And so there's some things like that we really need to look at in the next few years. Another thing Senator Bussman was just talking about is the bridges in the area. And there's several bridges that have been slated for being replaced. Senator Bussman has gotten funding through the state to be able to replace some of those bridges, several of those bridges. And of course, the idea there is because of education, because school buses need to be able to safely be able to cross bridges without being over the weight limit. Well, there's several bridges here in Cullman that a fire truck cannot cross. Well, that might not be in public. To the masses, that might not be so important, but if it's your house on the other side of that bridge and they're having to drive all the way up 31 and around 157 to get to your house, you might be concerned about that issue.
Give us an example of areas affected by that, where they'd have to go take a bypass in order to get to their house for a fire.
Well, the first one that comes to my mind is there on the Eva Road, north of the high school. It's my understanding that little bridge right there at the bottom of the hill.
Really?
A fire truck is not supposed to cross that bridge. There's a bridge on the East Hansville Highway going out of town toward the Fox Meadow area. That's my understanding. The fire truck's not supposed to cross there. So instead of being able to go straight down the East Hansville Highway, they have to go, down the old Hansville Highway, come around through the Bolte area and come back that way. So, and then also some of the viaducts downtown are slated to be replaced because of the age that they are at this time.
Wow. Do we have the proper mix of industry? We're heavy on auto parts industries, right? Pretty good with that. Right. A new industry announced, forgot the name of it, Zero something, but that was announced yesterday in Hansville. But what do you have any ideas on recruiting industry and what it might be?
Well, the economic development does a fantastic job, and we do have a lot of diversity, which is really good because you don't want to get in a situation like they did in Fort Payne, where they were so heavy on the hosiery side that when that industry drew back, it devastated the community, or like the situation over in Gaston, where everything was, in the tire industry, and then when that closed, they never have recovered from it. So economic development has done a fantastic job of keeping us more diversified. We may be a little heavy on the auto parts there, but they have maintained a good balance of being able to keep those contracts going with the companies that they represent, and we haven't seen a lot of slowdown in that area, but now there is a push to actually promote more retail. And so now they're trying to get retail establishments to come in, like say a Target, for example, or somebody like that, if they could attract them, and that's a good idea as well. So it's but economic development does a really good job, and they're one of the top economic development offices in the state of Alabama.
Peggy Smith and her staff are the very best in the United States. I can tell you that right now.
Absolutely. They do a great job.
Let me ask you this. There are efforts underway by some of the mayors, Kenneth Kilgo from West Point and some of the others, and to come up with a way to redistribute some of the tax revenue between the municipalities. Cullman gets a good share, but they have a lot of responsibilities. Is that something you're willing to negotiate as mayor?
I can, as I said a few minutes ago, I feel like that I'm a peacemaker, and I would, if I was to be put in that situation, I would try to do everything I could to try to keep the peace with our neighbors. It's just like the judge was saying, we have a unique situation here because we're Cullman City inside Cullman County, and you would think that we would be able to work together better than sometimes what we have in the past. I sort of get tickled, and when people ask me that question, I think of that Jerry Clower story that he told several years ago about his bird dog Andy, when he poured out the boiled okra for the dogs, and Andy ran up to the bowl first, and he stuck his snout down in the bowl and just sucked that boiled okra up, and it was gone so fast he thought one of the other dogs got it first, and he jumped on the next dog. And Jerry said they fought the rest of the day, but didn't but one of the dogs know what they were fighting over. Sometimes I feel like that's the way it's been between the city and the county. Sometimes they'll be in an argument over something and not even know what they're arguing about because it was, but I feel like that we do need to look at that. I can understand some of the concerns there about how the revenue is distributed. And I do think that there's room for some debate there to be able to make sure that it is an equitable adjustment there for everybody concerned.
One of your opponents, Mr. Parker, is in some of his campaign material is saying that the incumbent mayor is not willing to listen to employees' concerns, complaints, and all, that he says Parker would be more open and have an open door policy once the chain of command is followed, and then there's no resolution, then people come to see him, employees could. Is this an issue in your mind? Is the mayor as sympathetic or understanding, or is he open to the public or employees enough in your mind?
Obviously, as the mayor, being over day-to-day operations, like we're talking about, you need to have a pretty free flow of information there. Of course, you've got your department heads that are in place, and as you said, there is a chain of command, but sometimes, human nature being what it is, you need to, sometimes, even at home, if you're not getting along with mom, sometimes you need to go talk to dad, and
well, how would that relate though as a mayor though?
Well, if you're an employee and your supervisor or your department head and you are not being able to get on the same page music, sometimes you need that arbiter in there.
Okay.
And I feel like that the mayor does need to have an open door policy. I would have an open door policy. Most of the employees of the city of Cullman have my phone number right now, and so that wouldn't change. I would want any employee to feel comfortable coming and talking to me about any concern that they had.
We hope, Marshall, that if you do win the election, that you'll be unlike some of our incumbents, that you'll come back and see us. We have a hard time getting folks to come back, don't we?
Right. Yeah, once they get elected, it's hard to get them back.
And I can't understand why. But we hope you'll come back to see us. Will there be a runoff or not?
Well, I wish there wasn't, but there's now 4 in the race, so it's likely to be a runoff.
All right, Marshall Rowe, thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more after this.
Thank you, sir.
You'll get used to it after you've been here a while. That goes on practically every morning. Right. Oh!
Hey, let's do that. We're going to fight. Now, take your time, boys. Where do you think you're going to a fight? Hurry.
Billboards are sponsored by Pepsi, Mountain Dew, and Cullman Jefferson Gas. The Garden City Church of God Food Bank and Clothes Closet will be Saturday the 28th from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. The church is half a mile south of Wall Estate. Faith Baptist Church's Homecoming Jubilee will be August 10th through 12th at 7 p.m. nightly. They have different bands sponsored coming every night. August 1st will be a roast to remember of Bob Kurtz, dinner, prizes, and fun at Terry Pines Country Club. He's going to try to break the Guinness World Record of the Ironman 71. The Ivory Winds concert and steak dinner featuring Adam King and Nathan Woodward will be August 12th at 5 p.m. Tickets are $25 per person and proceeds go to the Ukraine mission trip. Community billboards are brought to you by Pepsi, Mountain Dew, and Cullman Jefferson Gas. You can email us a billboard at channel2cullman@gmail.com, fax it to us at 256-734-7680, or friend us on Facebook, Channel 2 Cullman.
Weather forecast, partly sunny, 60% chance of rain, maybe a thunderstorm later on today, a high of 89. 60% chance of rain before 8 o'clock tonight, low of 73. A slight chance of rain tomorrow morning before 8 o'clock, otherwise mostly sunny tomorrow with a high around 93. And coming up on Monday on Today on 2, who's coming to see us?
Dawn Owens will be coming to see us. She's from Lincoln, Cullman County. And also
Tutor
Carla
doctor.
Brower with the Tutor Doctor.
So we have 2 guests coming up on Monday. Thank you for watching Today on 2.
Have a great day.